Hi, my name's Elliot. I'm a physical therapist, I'm a circus artist, and I'm an activist for trans healthcare. This is my story. I was born in Jerusalem, in Israel, in the 80s. Getting out of Israel was a big part of my story, immigration, coming here to Barcelona, making a home here. I didn't have a European passport, and the first 3 years were kind of tough, trying to find a way to get legal papers here, etc. I did a gender transition. I was assigned female at birth, and when I was about 30 years old, I started taking testosterone. And when I was about 35, I had top surgery, which for me was huge. I used to be an Israeli girl from Jerusalem, and now I'm a German guy in Barcelona. I would say one of the biggest challenges of my life was definitely my back injury. That injury meant that I had to change an identity. I had to stop thinking of myself as somebody who is a circus artist and is going to be a circus artist, which was kind of like a dream that I've had since I was 18. And what I discovered through that journey is really a ton of empathy, because the moment that you have a major health issue and you start to talk to other people about their health issues, you realize that none of the people that are living around you are free of pain or suffering. When you start taking testosterone, there's a huge boost, not just of energy, but like muscle mass, lung capacity. So you kind of feel like you've been giving a second adolescence. For me, coming from that injury, when I started taking testosterone, it felt like all of a sudden my body was getting so much stronger and so much more capable again.
Look inside and you will find all your dreams are standing by.
I started taking testosterone as a trial. I thought I would only be on a very low dose for a very few months. I was very worried about maybe regretting that, which I think is a lot of like societal influence and projection. And I lived in an environment that I knew wouldn't be tolerant of gender transition as I envisioned it. There was a lot of hiding around the first 2 years, and there was not a lot of processing. I didn't admit to myself that I preferred male pronouns. I didn't ask anybody to use male pronouns for me. When it did finally click for me was when a friend of mine who had started transitioning later than me went on and had top surgery, and I was like, it's like your younger brother getting into university before you do. And that was a moment for me to admit that I'm ready to have the world see that part of me. I felt like I was taking away the obstacles to just feeling comfortable with myself and just being the way I'm supposed to be in the world. And I did have a period where I was like looking at men to try and see what men act like or talk like and stuff. And then at some point I was like, no, I don't think I want to do that. I think the world needs to accept that what I already am should be considered a man. I remember having top surgery, looking at myself in the mirror like the first time without the bandages on and going like, oh shit, that's me. I've never seen me before. Like imagine the first time you looked at yourself in the mirror, saw your own face was when you were 30 something. So there wasn't so much suffering before that. There wasn't so much like an acute sense of this is wrong. It wasn't wrong, it just wasn't mine. And when I finally saw it, it wasn't like this huge joy. It was just this relief. We Create Space kind of contacted me at a moment where I was just getting my feet under me with a lot of the trans activism that I was doing at the time. I'd only been here a few years, and they were like, hey, here's a podium and a microphone. Tell us stuff. People contacted me afterwards and were like, hey, can we help you? Do you need any like help in getting a business program? Do you need like physical aid for some of the people that are in your group? That was amazing. And We Create Space kind of like gave me that sensation that, yeah, you can talk to a room full of people and that's gonna be meaningful for them and it's gonna be meaningful for you. I'd say be the change you wanna be in the world is kind of like a cliche at this point, but the thing is that people are afraid of what they don't know. And the best thing that you could do in order to make the world change in the way that you want it to change is to normalize what you want it to be. So if that's being openly trans, if you can do that, if that's something that your life allows you, your circumstances allow you, you're gonna expose people who haven't maybe seen what you are to the fact that somebody like you can be a person in their life. When I talk to my students, I tend to be open about the fact that I transitioned, and sometimes you see genuine surprise when you talk about that, because they don't know any trans people, and specifically not in positions of power. Like, my teacher is trans, my physical therapist is trans. That's a novelty for a lot of people. And I think that does a lot for normalization. I think it's the nature of crisis, whether it's an identity crisis or any kind of crisis, it tends to take like center stage at the beginning stages. So whatever it is that you're going through, it's gonna feel like it's the only thing that matters in life when you're in it, when you're going through it. And after you're more or less processed it, it's gonna be like, oh, there's more to life than just this. I felt that way about my back injury, I felt that way about my professional choices, and I've definitely felt that way about immigration. I felt that way about my gender transition as well. If you'd asked me 3 or 5 years ago, how much of my attention and my energy goes into this process and this decision making, it would be so much more than it is right now. Right now, I'm just pretty much on the other side of what I would consider my transition. And I think giving this kind of perspective can really help. Like, hey, this is important, but at some point in life, it might not be as important as it is now.